Welcome everyone to the very first inaugural WIMBIZ Mentor and Mentee virtual meeting. It's going to be an amazing time and you're going to be filled with knowledge and have a great experience, both between networking, listening to the wonderful words by Dr. Joke Koka, and interacting with the entire WIMBIZ community. My name is Chizoba Atsu, and I'm a member of the Programs and Membership Committee, and I'll be your anchor today, and I'm very excited to be here with all of you. Please say hello in the chat box just so we can see you're here. Make sure that the network is working just great. Say hello, and get ready. I want everyone to, normally we give a prize to the first person on here, but I think maybe this time we'll say whoever made the most connections might be our winner today. So I'm looking forward to seeing how many people we all get to meet today. So I am going to give, starting off, I'm going to give a very brief review about what WIMBIZ does, who we are, which I'm sure all of you know very much about, but we're still going to do it. So it never hurts to have a reminder. And so WIMBIZ, Women in Management, Business and Public Service, is a non-profit organization that has, over the last 24 years, implemented programs that inspire, empower, and advocate for great representation of women in leadership positions in the public, private sector, and private sector. WIMBIZ is also a volunteer-based organization funded largely by donations and contributions by members and partners, and is a supporter for the Code of Ethics and Conduct for NGOs. For more information about WIMBIZ, please visit our website, www.wimbiz.org. And at the end of the session, please note, which you should know this about WIMBIZ by now, a link will be shared for a very quick evaluation. It won't take you much time. Please endeavor to complete the evaluation form, as we would love your feedback to ensure that we can improve the next time around, take your ideas on board, anything that you might be able to help us learn from and improve on would be very much appreciated. And of course, if you have any inquiries or any concerns or anything, please send an email to membership@wimbiz.org or click the link provided in the chat box to do so. Okay? If it's okay with everyone, if we're all on the same page, we're going to introduce our amazing chairperson, Mrs. Taye Aluko, the chair for the committee 2025 Programs and Membership Committee at WIMBIZ. Thank you very much, Ma, for being here. We look forward to your remarks.
Thank you, Chizoba, and good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon, good evening, good morning. It's morning where I am, so depending on where you're joining in from, I say welcome to you. This is the very first mentor-mentee learning session, so you're privileged to be pioneers. And when Jumoke told me the topic, I was particularly excited because these are two of my all-time favorite themes: self-awareness and effective communication. And I know from my own personal journey that self-awareness is a game changer. It's something, it's that journey you go on where you come into a fullness of who you are, understanding your strengths, understanding your weaknesses, and just owning the person that you are. Maybe because I grew up as a twin, I was constantly comparing myself to my twin sister, feeling like, oh, if only I could be vibrant like her, if only I could talk like her, if only I could look like her, But when I started my own journey of self-awareness, I began to appreciate me for me. And I began to hone into all the things that were good about me, while also recognizing the areas that I needed to work on. And that's why this topic is very personal and I'm very passionate about it. And I'm so excited for the women in this room today because, learning is continuous. Learning is lifelong. We are constantly evolving and growing. So there's always new levels of us to unlock. We never really arrive. We just continue to journey. And as we journey, we get better. So I welcome you to this session. Effective communication is also a big one, not just in the professional space, but also in the personal space. And you find out that your relationships are better when you are able to communicate more effectively, and you are also able to live a fuller and richer life. Once again, I welcome you. I'm looking forward to what Dr. Coker is going to be sharing with us, and I hope that you are also all looking forward to it. I encourage you to take notes. I encourage you to ask questions. I encourage you to be fully present, because opportunities like this, people pay lots and lots of money for. You know, I have been on several coaching platforms and I know how much I've paid. So if you are getting it on a platter, please milk it. When you go into the rooms where you're going to network, I also encourage you to be very participatory, to meet, to connect, because that's the power and the beauty of WIMBIZ, that we connect, that we collaborate, and because of that, as women, we are better. You know, there's a saying that says, if you want to go far, go alone. But if you want to really, really go the distance and sustain it, and I know that's not exactly how it's said, but if you want to go the distance and sustain it, if you want to go fast, go alone, I beg your pardon. But if you want to go far, go the distance and sustain, then it takes a village. And there's nothing more beautiful than women cheering each other on, women learning from each other, women empowering each other. So once again, I welcome you. I'm excited and I hope you are. And I will hand over back to Chizoba. God bless you and have a wonderful learning session. Chizoba, over to you.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Hayaluko. That was wonderful of you. Thank you for such a welcoming, rousing, welcoming speech. I hope you all enjoyed that as much as I did. So the next step in our process, which hopefully you're all aware of, would be the speed networking, which is going to go on for 20 minutes. Now, this time, what would be expected of you is to meet as many people as you can in the spaces that you've been placed into. We have a little bit of information here, which says what has been the most significant takeaway or insight you've gained so far from the mentoring program. That's a brilliant question that you can ask others, that you should be able to ask yourself and share about. And you share a challenge you faced and how you've overcome it. That would be a great story to tell someone and, you know, get to know someone a little bit better. Also, could you share a common interest or experience that might help you better connect with others, which I think is a really great, these are 3 really great key takeaways for you to use as introductory points and expanding on how you can meet people and speak with people. So on that note, because I promise you guys are going to be very timely, just as is the culture at WIMBIZ, we are going to break off into our networking sessions. It's a timed program, so please make sure you utilize your time wisely. Make as many contacts as you can and make sure that they're meaningful relationships that can carry on outside of here. Okay, that would be my advice to you. So good luck, have a great time, and enjoy your networking session. I look forward to hearing all your comments later on and seeing how many of you have met your somebody has made it. There we go. Okay. I said, now that we're all back in the main forum, I hope we've all had a great experience from the networking session. I'm sure ours was the best. You know, you guys can say what you may, but I'm sure the breakout room we were in are the winners. We got to know each other quite well. So we are going to move on to the next aspect of the program, which is going to be getting to know our speaker, you know, a lot better. Dr. Coker, as I just discovered, is coming to us with over 26 years of experience in the corporate world. So based on that and many other life experiences, she's going to give us a great, great talk that's going to be very impactful to all of us. I'm just gonna let you know a little bit about her, which hopefully all of you can see. Dr. Joke Coker is a psychologist who served as the CEO, sorry, excuse me one second, as the CEO of Constellation Group and Constellation Academy, and is the Director of Programs and Professional Development at the International Coaching Federation in Houston. So based off of all that and over 30 years of corporate leadership, she's going to bring an exceptional blend of corporate insight to our conversation today. She provides talent development, organizational effectiveness training, and executive coaching to a lot of multinational companies. She's a firm believer in human excellence. She holds a PhD in applied psychology from Fielding Graduate University. She has an MSc in psychology from Arizona State and an MBA from Cranfield University, as well as a BSc. Dr. Coker is passionate about women as leaders and business professionals. She also speaks regularly with Dress for Success, an organization for female veterans in the US. Dr. Joke Coker, I am thrilled to introduce you to a wonderful group of women who we are all on the edge of our seats, waiting to gain all the knowledge that you're about to share with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Chizoba, for a very kind introduction, and thank you, everyone, for granting me the privilege of being your inaugural, because I hear this is the first for this year, mentor-mentee talk. And I am a WIMBOard mentor. I've been a WIMBOard mentor for a couple of years now. And yeah, I don't know if I'm allowed to just go right ahead and start sharing my slides. Let me see if I can find it. Okay, can everyone see my slides?
Yes, we can.
Fabulous. Right, so we're going to spend a few minutes, exactly 30, I hope, and I'm going to set my timer, for us to discuss about personal and professional growth from the perspective of self-awareness and effective communication. Oops, is it moving? No, it's not moving. Okay, see if I need to do that. So we're going to talk about, we're going to chunk it up into little segments very quickly so that we can address the key points. We're going to look at what is personal and professional growth, what is self-awareness, and what is communication, and how do we improve? So for everything that we're going to discuss, we're going to look at it from a perspective of what is it, how do we improve it, what are the benefits thereof, and what tools can we use? And we're going to go through that very briefly, very quickly, and make sure that we take full advantage of the time that we have together. At the end of this, hopefully, we should all have a clear understanding of how important self-awareness is in our journey and how important communication is, both professionally and personally, and the synergy between self-awareness and communication, as well as the role of mentoring or coaching in improving both for the purpose of improving ourselves. So we'll start by a quick understanding of growth. What is growth really? Personal growth, professional growth have a lot of things in common. Growth as a whole is about making sure that we feel our best and do our best. Why is it important to grow? It's important to grow because it brings meaning to our lives. It gives us happiness. What are the elements of growth? We have self-awareness, we have skill development, we have goal setting, and we have continuous learning as very important aspects of our growth. Professional growth is similar to personal growth. They're all about adding value to yourself and adding value to your well-being. There's something psychologists call the subjective well-being. Subjective well-being is basically about how well you feel about yourself and your current circumstances and how you choose to make a difference about that, whether you want to improve or whether you want to stay where you are. Professional growth is particularly important for the WIMBIZ community because whether you're a mentee or a mentor, career advancement is enhanced with your professional growth. Your earning potential is enhanced with your professional growth. It also helps you to increase your job satisfaction, and it gives you access to higher levels of leadership opportunities. In a competitive and fast-changing global market, having both personal and professional growth are critical to the success of an individual. The most important thing we can take away from this particular slide is the fact that the elements of personal and professional growth help individuals to adapt, help them to achieve their aspirations and become the best versions of themselves as human beings and as professionals. And I have a short, I believe it's a 1-minute clip that explains this concept just a little bit more. I'll play the clip and then we'll try and see what we can gather.
Being self-aware is a critical ingredient to continuing to grow and evolve. Knowing who you are, but more importantly, how you show up in different types of contexts, and watching how people react to you or how they respond to what you say and even to your presence. Be very aware of your surroundings and learn how people react to other people as well, so that you can calibrate how they may be reacting to you. The other important thing about being self-aware is that at least once a quarter, you want to take inventory of the things you've learned and how you've grown, and what are the 2 or 3 things that you need to focus on to invest in over the next quarter or 2 to continue to improve and continue to accelerate on your journey to success. Go get them.
Go get them. It is important to grow more aware of yourself, because self-awareness is very instrumental in our ability to make decisions. Self-awareness shapes our interpersonal relationships at home, at work, and at play. Self-awareness guides our reactions to challenges. I say a lot of times that it's not the stimulus, it's not what happens in your environment that's important, but your reaction to it. Self-awareness allows us to understand what our triggers are, what our concerns are, what our motivations are. And having a significant positive self-awareness helps us to be able to regulate our emotions. It increases our confidence in dealing with uncertainty, in dealing with difficulties, and in dealing with the challenges that are a normal part of life, as well as our professional growth. If the first leadership, because we are all leaders from my perspective, everyone is leading someone else, even if you're just leading yourself. Self-awareness is an important tool for leaders because it helps you to even first lead yourself before you seek to begin to lead others. There are many tools that help us enhance our self-awareness. But from this plethora of tools, I have 2 favorites. And 2 of my favorite tools that I use professionally and personally are the Johari window and the EQI 2.0 model. Interestingly enough, if I was to ask anyone to guess, I think people would say that the Johari window was a more complex, while the EQI model looks more easy to apply. Reality is, the Johari window, I'm going to spend 3 minutes on it because as a mentor or a mentee, having the ability to apply the Johari window to ourselves and to others is an amazing way of increasing our self-awareness. Now, I've put up a version of the Johari window that is not as colorful as the first, but it helps us to understand how powerful this tool is in terms of self-awareness. Now, Johari window, I must give credit to the people who developed it. There are 2 psychologists called Joe somebody and Harry another. That's not important. What you need to know is what does this tool do for us? This is a 4x4 matrix. And what this matrix does, it tells you that everyone has 4 four parts to them or four segments to their personality. So for example, we all have the open side of us, the side that we show the public. A good way I use to describe the open self is the person that we are after we've put on our makeup and we've gone out. And like Chizoba would know, the people who go to parties are showing their open self in what we call the arena. When they go to the parties, the makeup artist has been working on their face for a few hours. The person doing the head tie has done a great job. You're looking like $1,000,000. That's your open self that you're showing. So that area, if you look at this matrix, you see the area that is known to others and is also known to yourself. So the top end of this matrix is about self-knowledge. You will notice that self-knowledge is grown by asking for feedback, but I'll explain that in a little minute. So known to self and known to others is your open arena. Then you have the other boxes. You have your hidden self. You have the side that is known to yourself, but not known to others. That's the time before you put your makeup on. That's the time that you know that, oh, I have a phobia for something or the other, or I'm afraid of dogs, or I'm afraid of cats, or I don't like to swim. Those are the hidden parts of you that only you know about. And you, for some reason, have chosen not to disclose that to others. That hidden area is an area, the whole concept of this Johari window is to open up the open arena as much as possible so you get to know more of yourself and allow other people to come into the arena, into your open arena. There are two ways to increase the open arena. One is by seeking feedback, and the other is by self-disclosure. Self-disclosure is about saying, this is who I am, and these are my preferences. Feedback is about asking. Now, the blind area is very important because we all have our blind spots. The blind area is the area where you do not know that you have this personality trait, this character, this habit, while others can see it. So it is known to others, but unknown to yourself. And a good analogy I always use in describing the blind area is when you go out with bogey on your nose. You have a little bit of bogey on your nose, but it's so light you can't feel it. Now, if you have kind people around you, the kindest thing someone can do under that circumstance is to say to you, hey, you have bogey on your nose. But if nobody tells you, then you go around and you carry that blind spot all for the rest of the whole day. And people are looking at you and saying, look, she has bogey on her nose. And this is a very good analogy to understand that the people giving you feedback, whenever they do, so whether it's your mentee, whether it's your mentor giving you feedback, or a coach giving you feedback, or a friend, a feedback you see from anyone is a gift. Because they can see the bogey on your nose and they are saving you from embarrassing yourself by carrying that bogey around and others are looking at you. They also have to overcome some fear in giving you the feedback because you may not respond to it kindly. So they come out of their own comfort zone to actually give you that feedback. So as a mentee, receiving feedback from your mentor, while you are nervous about the mentorship process, please be aware that even your mentors consider it a big responsibility to be mentoring anyone and providing and receiving feedback as well. The unknown self is the last quadrant I want to talk about briefly before we move along. The unknown self is the area where you do not know about it and nobody else knows about it. Now, the one way to unpeel that onion, that segment of ourselves, is to seek a combination of feedback and self-disclosure. That will help us to be able to expand this area. Look at these arrows going to the right and the arrows coming down, basically opening up the arena so that you can be more of your authentic self and be more open to engaging the world. The EQI 360 is another tool for the EQI emotional quotient is a tool used for measuring emotional intelligence. I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this because these are professionally deployed tools that typically we use for leaders when we are helping leaders on their leadership journey. And this is a bit technical because you have to fill out an assessment. If you do the assessment of yourself in that questionnaire, that is for the EQI 2.0. But the area I like the most is the EQI 360, where feedback is gotten from your peers, your supervisors, your friends, your family. So it gives you a whole 360 view of how people see you. And you also get the chance to also put into the survey how you see yourself. So this is like a professional Johari window that your coach or mentor can use in the mentorship process. I do not believe that WIMBIZ is applying this, but in case somewhere along in the future you get to be exposed to the emotional quotient instrument, I want you to know that it's all about self-awareness. And the EQI, most important thing to take away from this slide is that emotional intelligence is a very critical part of your development journey, whether it's your personal growth or your professional growth. And emotional intelligence has been found by research to have been as impactful to professional and personal growth as the intellectual intelligence, which is typically measured by the IQ instrument that has all sorts of different perspectives on it around the world. But more importantly, when you have an idea of how you see yourself and how you express yourself, self-expression, and how you interact with other people, if you have a clear understanding of your decision-making process, how do I make decisions? What is the control system? What is the testing of reality that I undertake in my decision-making process? What is my problem-solving skill? And how do I turn all of that together in terms of self-perception and self-expression? How do I manage stress? One good example of stress management from the EQI is a leader I worked with who had the habit of raising their voices whenever they were stressed out. And with work and practice, the person has learned to regulate the speech, tone, pitch, and volume of their verbal communication when under stress, to the point where when you call that individual now and the person is really stressed out, they sound really calm because they have learned how to manage their emotions, how to monitor their feelings, and to discriminate between which feeling they want to use in a particular situation. One of the things that will help us professionally and personally is to learn to identify our emotions and use them. Harness the emotion, because emotion is energy. So anger, whatever emotion you have, the ability to convert our emotions into positive energy is one of the most breakthrough things that we can develop for ourselves as individuals and for ourselves as professionals. So now we go on to effective communication. Remember at the beginning of this, we said we were going to discuss all of this from the perspective of personal and professional growth. What we have seen is that under personal and professional growth, so there are many aspects that are involved in personal and professional growth, and two of them that are critical and we're focusing on for today's discussion are self-awareness and communication. So now we've talked a little bit about self-awareness. I think it's time we talk about communication. And I think that communication is one of the most important tools in a person's success story. And communication is not just about what is said, but the context and as well as the content of what is said. Now, there my bias comes out saying said, because communication can be verbal, oral, or written, verbal or non-verbal. A lot of times, the non-verbal power of the communication process is so strong that it can alter and or soften the impact of the verbal or oral or written communication. For example, if we use humor, do you know one of those people that is so humorous that when they give a very tough feedback with a little bit of a laugh, it just softens it to the point where you can take it as opposed to taking offense. Now, I'll give you an example. If we're speaking to a friend and you say, you're crazy, that can sound like a compliment. But if you're speaking to your boss and you take away the laughter and you take away the context and you say, you're crazy, I think that would have a different connotation and also elicit a different response. So what is important is for us to look at the context of what we're discussing, to look at the rapport we have with the person that we are communicating or the group of people we're communicating with, and how will the receiver understand what we are saying. The receiver's understanding is the most critical part of the learning process. So measuring successful communication is not about what you're saying or how you're saying it, but how the receiver interprets exactly what you're saying. Are you getting the intention across? This is another, I think, 50-second video that helps to bring it all.
Gift in the world.
Hold on.
Single most important gift in the world is the gift of communication. The greatest tool of influence all leaders have is communication. You cannot influence where you cannot communicate. It's impossible. So learning to communicate is a critical skill for any of you who think of yourselves as leaders. But if you were to learn to communicate, the question becomes communicate for what purpose? 99% of the time, the reason we human beings communicate is to either get somebody to do something we want them to do, or to get somebody to see something we want them to see. So either I want you to take action or I want to change your perspective. But either way, to do both of these things, I need to communicate. I need to influence. I need to, as the language says, persuade.
And that summarizes in a really quick snapshot. I hope that people got the message from there. The key thing is to recognize and use your communication techniques and all of the tools in your arsenal to deliver the message in a way that influences. There are some other tips, and I'm going to go through this. I really like this. Sadly, not a lot of people have their videos on, because this will have been a very powerful tool to use if a lot more videos were on. But communicating in a way by mirroring the personal preference of your audience. So if you're speaking as a mentor to a mentee that is auditory, someone that likes to, that their preference for processing the world is from things that they hear, then you use words like, when you are planning your future, how does that sound to you? So you ask questions that build rapport quickly in the mentorship process by just referring to the person's preferential styles. So if you're speaking to someone who has a visual preference, you ask them questions like, what do you see? Or you speak in terms of visual references for them. Kinesthetic people, you'd ask them things like, how would that make you feel? How did that make you feel? When you become successful, what is that going to feel like? These are some very simple questions around the communication process that can help. So before I round up, I want to just go through the communication tools, some of the tools for enhancing your communication. Get training. Professional training in communication skills are always useful at different aspects of your career and your personal growth. Get a coach, get a mentor. A coach or a mentor will be a facilitator that guides your growth. They will apply active listening and empathy. They will ask you powerful questions and provide constructive feedback and tasks. Now, the synergy between communication and self-awareness is very obvious when you are able to accurately interpret the stimulus. So you see someone keeping quiet and you are able to understand what that silence means. To prepare your responses intentionally, not in the heat of the moment or under the cloud of emotional bias. To be able to see conflict not as a negative thing, but to see conflict as an opportunity to bond and build relationships. That comes from a full understanding of yourself and a full capacity for effective communication. Empathetic listening is another skill that we develop along the way from the combination of both self-awareness and effective communication. Being aware of who you are and how you communicate helps you to build credibility. It also helps to enhance your success as an individual and as a professional. And we want to talk about what it is that is the obstacle for growth. One of the key obstacles for growth in most people, or found to be very, very common obstacle for growth, is something called fear. The fear of failure, the fear of success, the fear of change, the fear of stress, feeling overwhelmed or burnt out, self-doubt, fear of resistance. There's a science behind fear and anxiety, and there's a difference between the two. But the most important takeaway from this slide is to remember that fear does not have to control you. Because our deepest fear, this is a poem by a lady called Marianne Williamson. She was quoted by Nelson Mandela when he was doing his inaugural speech as the first Black president in South Africa. And I've taken an excerpt of this that I like to use when I'm talking to people about fear, whether it's self-awareness, whether it's communication. Remember that our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant, gorgeous, talented, and fabulous? Well, actually, who are you not to be? You're a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There is nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. We're all meant to shine as children do. We're born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. And it's not just in some of us, it's in everyone. And when we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. And that's really the end of my presentation. I know that Symbiat will be upset with me if I don't tell you about upcoming events in Constellation Group. We offer mentor coaching. We have a mentor coaching cohort coming up on the 8th of July. And that cohort is about people who are already ICF certified coaches or people who are seeking ICF certification. That is the International Coaching Federation. Or people who just want to develop their mentoring and coaching capacities. Please join us. Symbiat will drop a link in the chat room, also drop the flyer in there so that people can access it. The mentor coaching process that we're going through, of course, has some AI aspect to it. We use the AI to give feedback because the AI looks at the share of voice, the question rate, the open-ended questions, basically the technical things that professional coaches use. The AI tells you the what is wrong or what needs to be improved, while the human expertise is used for the aspect of how to improve your self-awareness and how to make yourself a better coach, mentor, or just a better human being. So we've discussed unlocking personal and professional growth from the perspective of self-awareness and effective communication. We've looked at it from the perspective of what is it? How do we achieve it? What are the obstacles and what strategies can we use to overcome it? And we've looked at this through the various perspectives of self-awareness, communication, synergy between the two, and the role of AI has been brought in on the side because in this new world, AI is so important to everything that we do. So at this point, I want to say thank you to the 146 people that are still with us for taking time to listen to me and for spending time with me this Saturday morning. And we would love to take your questions, comments, and reactions.
That was amazing. The comment section, I love it. They've been putting in their comments since. Thank you so much. Thank you, Ma. Thank you so much. That was mind-blowing. You know, rounds of applause back to back. It was a brilliant, brilliant session. Thank you so much, especially the videos as well. I mean, I've always come across Lucy on social media, but I never really paid attention until today. Thank you so much. That was a really, really, really great session for all of us. As you can see, the chat box is alive and awash with comments. And I love the fact that the one thing you can always rely on at a WIMBIZ event is someone going to say, please, can we have the slides? So by any chance, would you be willing to share the slides with us?
Yes, you already have them.
Yes.
I sent
Oh,
them to
wonderful.
WIMBIZ already. Yes.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. So I'm sure the Secretariat will get that across to everyone that is interested in having it. Thank you so much again, Dr. Coca, for an amazing, amazing, and an enlightening session. So, ladies, we are at that point where we are going to put Dr. Coca's expertise to the test, and we're going to come out with as many questions that are going to help all of us learn and get even more from this experience. So feel free to type those questions in the chat box so that we can review them and line them up just to put them across to her. The flyer for her mentor coaching is in the chat as well. So please feel free to utilize that. You know, we're all here to get better and improve ourselves and learn as much as we can. So I am going through our chat to see. Thank you, Olariwaju, Tasi, Amuda. She says her takeaway was, my playing small does not serve the world. I love that. I love that you caught that. But playing small does not serve the world. Share, give to the world, just the way our coach, our mentoring coach, has shared with us. Can I see here where our questions begin? Okay. Someone referenced the poem. Do we have any questions, ladies? This is the time. While I'm waiting for the ladies to come across with their questions, I'm going to ask my question to Dr. Coca, which was about the, I don't know how to pronounce it, the Johari, the Johari window. Is this something that you think, would you say that this is a tool that everyone should utilize to get to know and explore themselves better? Or would you say it's only in a work setting that you think it would be relevant to apply that to yourself?
I think that the Johari window is a powerful tool for self-development as well as professional development. So I think that it's a tool that people should use. And as a matter of fact, I would recommend it highly to the WIMBIZ mentoring committee. You know, that you do some training for the mentors before the process starts. I think it helps the individual to just understand, where's my blind side? What is it that others know about me that I don't know about myself? Where is my what am I like in the arena? And how do I grow? How do I seek feedback? And what do I want to disclose about myself in the process? Like the networking session that we just had, we had a few minutes to actually grow our arena to a group of 15 people that you never met before. And you had an opportunity to say to them, this is who I am. And that's self-disclosure. And then you walk away from there and you seek feedback as much as possible. I think it's a tool that can be used not only in professional and personal settings, even as a parent. You should teach it to yourself in interacting with your kids and help your children to also. The earlier you get to master the Johari window, the better it is for you as an individual. And it's a very simple, I'm sure you can get a YouTube video on it and it'll explain it to you. Those little cartoon things that explains the Johari, I hope it explains it well. But it's such a powerful and simple tool. And I like the way my perspective of teaching anything is that if you know it well enough, you should be able to teach it in such a way that my illiterate grandmother of blessed memory, should be able to understand it. So if you can't explain it in a way that is understood by everyone, then you need to get brushed up on it as well. And another perspective on the Johari window will be learn the Johari window with the mindset of teaching it to others.
I like that. That's a really good way to learn.
Yeah.
Very good way to learn. Thank you for putting it that way. Learn in a way that you can teach others to learn. Thank you very much, Dr. Coker. Again, very enlightening. We do have a few questions here. We have a question from Irene Afen. Forgive me if I didn't get that perfectly. She asked, what simple tips can you give to work on a person's nonverbal communication, especially for people who come off quite stern?
Smile. One word, smile.
Miss Afen or Mrs. Afen, see, very simple but very powerful. Very
Now,
simple.
I say it like it's simple. Reality is that there is science behind a smile. Physiologically, the smile releases some hormones into your body that helps you so that you have things like endorphins. I'm not going to go into the science of it, but a smile actually helps you. And try it. When you smile, even when you're on your own, if you're taking a walk on your own, psychologists sometimes when we're intervening with depression and things like that, we ask people to do like a gratitude walk where you look as you're walking, you're grateful for little things you see, but also smile. Anyone on this forum that exercises in any way, smile while you exercise, because while your physical being is being improved by your exercise, then your endorphins are being enhanced as well by the smile. In communication terms, smiling also helps to soften the message. So when you say to somebody, are you crazy? It's different from, are you crazy? And the more you smile, the more, have you ever tried it, smiling as you walk down the road? You don't even know who the person is, but somebody will smile back. It's called emotional contagion. People get attracted to smiles. The minute you smile, somebody else will smile back at you. So if you come across as being stern, pay attention to your physical manifestation of your thoughts and emotions, and regulate those emotions in such a way that you manifest what you want. The intention is what comes across. Communication is interesting because it's multinational. In different countries have different interpretation of different expressions. So for example, most of my life walking in Africa, I never realized that walking with your hands closed had a connotation until I started going for walks in another part of the world, where there is the impression of a Black woman. And then I learned to walk like that, with my hands wide open, all the time. So pay attention, be aware. How are you coming across as harsh? How can you soften it? Get a coach.
Very good point, because who would have thought? I mean, as soon as you said it, I thought, you walk with your hands bold. It does seem like you're ready for a fight.
Yes.
That was my first thought. Like it could be read as aggressive, but here we're always in fight mode. Technically, you're always thinking, they look for my trouble. So it's quite true. You're always prepared for a fight. So if you go somewhere where they're afraid of you, technically, you definitely want to give a different message. So thank you. We see we're learning on everything. There were simple things from utilizing your smile
Yes.
and bold fist versus open palms. Very good lesson. Thank you again for that, Dr. Coker. Victoria, you asked a question. Your question begets more questions, but let's see if Dr. Coker can take it on. Victoria asked, can you please shed some light on being head of operations? Right.
Absolutely, I would love to. Now, being head of operations suggests that it means that you are responsible for various tasks being done at a particular time and in a particular way. So quality and speed and accuracy of the processes is important to you. You can use communication as a head of operations to help the people first to manage the expectations upwards from the people above you. You can make sure that you always communicate positively about your delivery process. Have a can-do spirit about the KPIs, your key performance indicators, to your supervisors or your directors or your superiors. And then for your team, you're head of operations, which means that you're working with a lot of people with a different kind of mindset. Build rapport with them. When you build rapport with your team, then you can draw upon that emotional bank account to make withdrawals at the time when there is pressure on the operations. So, for example, Symbiat is working on a Saturday today. Sure, she had other things she wants to do. She probably wants to go to one of those parties where Chizoba's drinks are being served. But here she is. For the next 1 hour or last 1 hour, she's been here with me. But she knows that there is some sort of rapport that we have built that has made it possible for me to take a little bit away of her weekend, but with the knowledge that we don't do it all the time. So as being head of operations, be aware of yourself. How do you manage stress? Do you scream at your team when things are not going well? And if you want innovation in your operations, do you encourage people to contribute? Do you seek feedback? How much self-disclosure have you done? How big is your blind spot in your Johari window? How much of your open self have you shared with your team to say, listen, I really feel that our targets for this period of time are huge, but I think we can do it. And I know we can do it if we all come together. So tell me, each of us, let's brainstorm for a minute. Let's sit together and share the thoughts about how we can do it. I know it's a big goal, it's a big, hairy, audacious goal, but I know that I have the best team that there is. So I want each of us to reflect on it, take our times to go into our little corners, and then let's come back together and determine how we're not just going to meet these targets, but excel and exceed the expectations of my supervisor. Remember what the little short video said. Communication is about influence. How are you able to intentionally influence those following you to deliver on your behalf? Because when you're a supervisor, when you're a manager, when you're a director, you're not really the one doing the work anymore. It's not about your own operational skills as head of operations. Your skills now is about leadership. And leadership needs a lot of self-awareness and a lot of communication. I hope that answered the question a little bit. If it didn't, please let me know.
Victoria, I really hope you got a lot of information right there. So we have high expectations of you with all that knowledge that you've just acquired just for you from Dr. Coker. Thank you very much for that, our amazing speaker. Our next question is from Obari Princess. Her question was, when a person gives you feedback about a blind spot, how are you able to filter or ascertain the veracity of the feedback?
Self-awareness. And the question is to ask yourself, how does this make me feel? So someone said, I mean, I can't even imagine, whatever the feedback is. Someone said, your hair's too long, and you like your hair long. And then immediately you're defensive. Identify the fact that you initially felt defensive, and then allow yourself to look at the feedback by itself first. Forget who's giving you the feedback. Take that feedback and apply it to yourself first and ask yourself, okay, is there really something I need to work on in that area? First thing I always say is that whenever anybody gives you feedback, first thing to say is, thank you very much, I appreciate that. And even the question of offense. When somebody, I love the English language. When the language says take offense, it means that if somebody offers you offense, even if the person gives you the feedback in a way that is offensive, you still have the choice to accept the offense. So imagine the worst kind of that non-constructive feedback that somebody gives, like, and I'm going to use a term that is very offensive just for the purpose of getting the message across. If somebody says, you're stupid, how can you respond to that? And how can you work with that? Thank you very much for taking time to think about me enough to have a judgment about my stupidity or lack of it. I'll take that into advisement, and I will work on it if I find anything to work on. That's the response to the person giving you the feedback. To myself, to check the veracity, I go into my corner and say, really, what does stupid mean? Am I stupid? Or is there something stupid in the way I communicated? What was it about how I said what I said or did what I did that could have been interpreted as stupid? And then I work on making it better. Now, if you find no evidence to back the data that says that this person says I'm stupid, then you walk away from it and just know that that's the person's perspective of you. But that person's perspective does not have to become your reality. But when you evaluate the comment and you find any little bit of an iota of truth in it, then work on it. Get training, get support, find a way to focus every day on getting better at least one thing. And the only person you're competing with is the person that you were yesterday. Now, I can see 9 new messages where
I think we still have a little bit of time. Please, Secretariat, if you let us know when we have to call an end to it, just so we stay in line, please let us know. But I think we've only done about 3 or 4, so we're gonna still keep going so we can satisfy the people. Amanda, sorry, thank you for your comment where you said your takeaway was on differentiating fear from anxiety. Facing what you feel, avoiding might make you smaller or otherwise. Exposure and knowledge is a gift that keeps giving. Thank you. It's good to know that you're paying attention and it's making an impact. The next question is from Jesumi Mofe Henry Adelagu. She asked, please, how can we take the EQI 360 test?
You have to go to a certified assessor and ask for it, and they will send you the questionnaire. You take the test, and if you're she wanted the 360, okay, good. So I mean, some employers offer it even in Lagos to their staff, especially the leaders,
Okay.
to help in developing them. So you just look for a certified EQI 360 or 365 2.0 assessor, and Constellation can help you. Cynthia, please put your phone number in the chat room so that she can contact you and you can talk to her about the EQI 360. Yeah, and I will read out Cynthia's number in case anyone wants it. It's 0803-248-9319. This tells you how dear she is to my heart for me to know her number of head.
She's been definitely been an integral part of your team. Well done, Cynthia. The next question comes from Favor Uzoma, who asks, can you please recommend some trainings on effective communication? And how much of an open mind should we give negative feedback that might affect one's self-esteem? I think the last response he had kind of what goes towards this favor, if you're paying attention. She did say you need to have self-awareness and be able to assess for yourself, but take it on board. But I'll still let you just briefly touch on it again if you're open to doing that.
Self-esteem is your personal responsibility. Nobody on earth is going to give you esteem unless you take it yourself. You are an outstanding individual. Each one of us, every living, breathing human being is an outstanding individual. And it's not just something that I say to make people feel good. It's science-based. At the point of conception, a million cells ran towards one egg, and only one, unless even there are 2, if you are a twin, even 4, if you're a quadruplet, you're still 1 in a million. So you are special. But in addition to that, everyone here over the age of 5 went through the biggest pandemic that the world has ever experienced, and we're still standing. So you are awesome, and don't you ever let anybody tell you any different. However, as awesome as you are, the slight difference between confidence and arrogance is learning that we are all awesome. We are all great. That's confidence. Arrogance says I'm better than someone else. No one's better than another person. But the idea is that you can take all the learnings and experiences that you have and use it to add value to yourself and to others. So your estimation of yourself, which is what they call self-esteem, must always remain high, even as you know that there is still more to do on the journey of personal growth or professional growth. I hope that answers your question. So don't let any negative comment erode your self-esteem. Your self-esteem is an estimation of yourself, your self-efficacy, right? Instead, take it, take that feedback or the negative comment or even the insult, take it and turn it around as a developmental goal if you find that it is valid. If it's not valid, then let it go. But be honest to yourself. To yourself, be true.
Thank you very, very much for that, Doctor. You have again answered questions in an extremely effective and positive manner that's very useful to our mentees. Thank you. Again, we have another question from Grace Olabisi. She says, "How do I work on my emotions, not influencing my communication? For example, being able to pass across my displeasure without showing I'm angry." Again, you've definitely touched on that, but if you can do so again, but very briefly, because if you've been paying attention, her responses have definitely given us tools in which we can work on this.
Take a deep breath. When you hear something that angers you, when a stimulus occurs that triggers your anger, take a deep breath before you respond. That's the difference between reacting and responding. You react in anger, then you say something that you don't mean to say. But if you take a deep breath, you allow oxygen to come into your system and allows that to trigger your prefrontal cortex where your executive function is better. So take a deep breath. Some people say count to 10, but I say take a couple of deep breaths and then ask yourself what is the best possible way to influence the environment positively, even though you are displeased about the current stimulus. What differentiates us from other species as human beings is our ability to choose our response and not just react in a moment. I hope that helps.
Thank you very much. I do believe that is a very, very positive way for us to react to negative stimulus. So please, I hope you are paying attention and you're still here for that response, Grace Olabisi. The very last question that we're going to have to take, unfortunately, so that we don't fall behind, is going to be from Sonka Queensley, where she says, "Thank you, Doctor, for sharing your knowledge with us. My question is, how best can one learn to communicate in such a way that those on the receiving end get the message as the speaker intended for it to be gotten?"
Self-reflect. If somebody was trying to get that same message across to you, how would you want to receive it? Would you want someone to yell at you to get better? Or would you want somebody to acknowledge first the good aspects? So use something called a sandwich. If you want to give somebody good news, give it quickly. If you want to give somebody bad or negative feedback that is probably not positive, then put it in a sandwich. Start with something positive about the person. Everyone has a positive point. So start with something positive. Put the tough feedback in the middle and put the last slice at the bottom, which is end on a positive note. That way the person becomes more receptive to the tough comment in the middle. And even if you're doing employment appraisals, employee appraisals, or feedback to people generally in your personal or professional life, the sandwich is always a good way to go about it. Start with something positive. Be truthful. Find something positive that is truthful about the person, and then layer it onto the tough feedback and end up with something positive for them to take away. So you don't erode their self-esteem or you don't negatively impact their well-being.
Thank you, Dr. Coker. I do hope you were able to get all the wonderful knowledge that has been passed across to you, Sonka. And on that note, I do believe we've come to the end of our question and answer segment with the amazing Dr. Joke Coker. Thank you very much again for your time, for your impactful knowledge, and just for your presence and spending this time with us this Saturday afternoon. You all could have been somewhere else. You could have been somewhere, our amazing guest speaker, but you chose to be here with us, and we all appreciate it And I appreciate having you here today.
Thank you. Thank you very much for the privilege of spending time with you.
I'm going to introduce next someone who's going to be sharing some more information with us today. Ejiro Ogene Kajo is a member of the Programs and Membership Committee, and she's going to be taking the announcement and the closing remarks for us this afternoon. Hello, Ejiro.
Yeah, thank you for welcoming me in. Good evening, everyone. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. We can hear you.
So on behalf of the Board of Trustees and Management Team, we appreciate all the WIMBIZ mentees, and we appreciate all our mentors for their time and service. Please remain patient and take a quick evaluation of today's session. The evaluation link has been pasted in the chat box. So I'll give you some seconds to enable you fill up the form. We would like to hear your feedback. It's important to help us make a better session. Also, an evaluation link will be sent to you all in the follow-up email to enable those who are unable to fill out the form right on the call to endeavor to complete it, as we would really love to hear your feedback. We'll quickly go to the announcements. We kindly invite our dear participants who are not WIMBIZ associates to become one today. Thank you especially for joining this, and you can contact us via email at membership@wimbiz.org. membership@wimbiz.org. The WIMBIZ Big Sister program is scheduled to hold in September 2025, and it aims to support over 1,500 girls between the ages of 14 to 18 in Nigeria by providing mentorship, leadership training, empowerment, education, and essential tools for success, such as stationaries, workbooks, and hygiene packs. Your sponsorship can support and can help a girl dream big and create a brighter future. So we encourage you to sponsor a girl today by clicking on the link below. So that link is https://bit.ly/WIMBIZ.VSB sponsor a girl. That will also be pasted there. So we're saying that you should save the dates. This is our flagship program. The 24th WIMBIZ annual conference is coming up. There's always a swell time. It is scheduled to hold on the 6th, 7th of November, 2025. So please save a date and put a reminder if you have to. Don't miss it for anything. To register for all our upcoming programs, kindly click on the link provided in the chat box or visit our webpage, www.wimbiz.org, to register. Kindly follow WIMBIZ across all social media platforms to be abreast of our progress and activities so that you don't miss anyone and you're up to date at every point in time. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much for that. And if we've concluded our announcements, can I just double check that we've all taken the time to fill out the feedback forms? Please, it's very important for us to be able to do this. And on that note, I would like to thank you all for your time, for your presence, for all your questions and your feedback and just your general support. Thank you to the WIMBIZ Secretariat for all your amazing work. It was a great event. Clapping for you. Great first event, great feedback from me. And thank you to our wonderful speaker. Thank you to Ejiro for the announcements. Thank you to our Madam Chairperson, our able leader in the program committee. Thank you so much to everyone. I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful weekend. We have come to the end of our time together, and I look forward to seeing you all at the WIMBIZ annual conference in a few months' time. Have a wonderful day, everyone. Bye.